hearts, and welcome back to the Love Against channel where we talk about faith, love, and GLP-1s. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nicole, and I'm glad you've joined me for another maintenance mindset episode. But before we dive in, I want to first thank you all who have joined me for another episode and who have subscribed to this channel. If you're new here, welcome again, dear hearts. And if you enjoy what you see, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. This channel was created for us to be able to share stories and experiences about life. So I'm glad you stopped by to tune in. And as always, I'm forever humbled and grateful. All right. So in this week 2 of the series, I want to talk about something that fundamentally changed how I approach this season of my health journey, right? So I'm sharing the dietitian tips that reshaped my maintenance plan and how those conversations helped me understand why it was time for me to pause on my weekly Zepbound injections, okay? So this episode isn't about quitting, it's about wisdom, stewardship, and learning how to sustain what I've worked hard to build, right? So why I knew my maintenance path forward needed a new strategy, right? Basically, when I hit my goal weight, 162 pounds, I realized something very quickly. And the tools that helped me lose weight weren't automatically the same tools I needed to maintain it, right? Definitely shifted in what I needed to maintain. So, weight loss is aggressive by nature with the deficits, your structure, your momentum, but maintenance requires something a little bit different. It's more about balance and nourishment and trust, right? So that's when I knew it was time for me to get a dietitian, and then not think so much of my journey as a diet, but more learn how to live in the space that I am right now, right? At the weight that I am and in the space that I am right now. So one of the biggest mindset shifts my dietitian helped me make was that maintenance is about fueling your body and not controlling it. So for so long, my success came from, doing my weekly injections, eating less, changing my habits, working out, like moving my body more, eating healthier things, having a balanced plate, all of those things. But now success comes from eating enough, making sure that I'm eating enough protein, eating enough fiber, eating enough calories to support my energy throughout the week, supporting my workouts, my hormones, all of that. So with the dietitian, we talked about, increasing my calories gradually, eating consistently every 4 to 6 hours. Now I have myself on a timer just so I make sure that I eat at a certain time, because repetition and consistency also helps with maintaining your weight. Prioritizing protein, fiber, hydration, those are still big things. Removing fear about eating carbs, right? Like carbs are still good, in moderation and all of that. And your body still needs carbs, right? So that shift alone changed how I approached my entire day. So maintenance definitely looks different for me than when I was actually trying to and striving to lose weight. One of the biggest things I would say too, as what factored into me pausing on Zepbound for a moment, was obviously the hydration part, and then also my ER scare, which I talked about in another video. So this is where everything kind of connected for me. Before I ever thought about pausing the injections, I was in the ER due to severe dehydration. I was on too high of a dose. So that was another thing I had to navigate, is as my body was losing weight, it felt like the doses I was on had to be adjusted. Obviously, I'm sure some of you, if you're on a GLP-1, that sometimes that you'll have to, and if you're getting closer to maintenance, you'll have to readjust your dosing, right? Like whether you're dosing up or dosing down, depending on where you are in your path or in your stage of your GLP-1 or your weight loss journey. It's going to depend on where your body is and how your body is reacting to the medication, right? So I definitely could tell that the 5 milligram, the 7.5 milligram were starting to be a little bit too high for me as I started to lose weight. I think the 7.5 probably was too high of a dose anyway. And then when I went back down to 5, it was, fine. Didn't have any scares with dehydration, but definitely was feeling like maybe like my appetite wasn't all the way right, because as you get to maintenance, you have to eat a little bit more in order to maintain the weight that you're in. And I was still not having that much hunger on the 5 milligrams. So now I do have a box of my 2.5 milligram, but I wanted to reset. So like I said in the other video, I paused in November, and I'm debating on whether or not of when I want to start back, if I need to start back. So far, so good. I've been at maintenance now for a little over, so almost 2 months. And I've been in that 158, 165 range in this past 2 months. So still, again, those habits that I built with, Zepbound as the tool is definitely, I feel, helping me sustain where I am today. So no drastic, going up, and it's basically like what it was when I was on the shot. I went up a little, went down a little, but I've been maintaining my weight so far so good. So, but it's only been 2 months, so I'll keep you all posted. So, and really right now, what I am doing is I'm truly listening to my body, and I'm pushing through, not just pushing through out of habit, right? Like I did mention, I built these habits when I started, trying to lose weight with the Zepbound and with those injections. So talking with the dietitian about, those experiences that I've had, it's just become clear that I definitely need to be more in tune with my body, but also I've built a lot of habits that I need to maintain. And I just don't see all of the habits that I built for almost 2 years just disappearing, right? That's what helped me get to where I am today. So I think that's also important. It's definitely, while you are on shot, if you're ever thinking about coming off of it, and I know this is not for everybody, but you definitely have to make sure that you have those lifestyle changes that are incorporated into your maintenance plan, right? So that's definitely what I shifted my focus on. So, and also my body needed time to recalibrate. I wasn't failing. I was just kind of fatigued, like with the shots and the injections every week. And I just needed a reset for me personally. So pausing my weekly Zepbound injections wasn't a rash decision. I didn't just abruptly stop. It was a response to my body asking for rest and nourishment, and not so much of that suppression. Because like I said, I do need to eat a little bit more. I need to make sure that I'm at a certain calorie range. And I really wasn't getting that from doing the injections. I was still having a suppressed appetite. So that's why I paused off of it, just to see what maintenance looked like for me without the injections. So far we're doing all right. So also my dietitian reminded me of something very powerful, and that the injection, and I mentioned this several times, that injection was a tool. My habits though are my foundation. The habits that I built to get me here are what is keeping me still, right? I wasn't starting from scratch. I had structured meals, consistent hydration, movement routines I enjoy, awareness of my hunger and fullness, emotional regulation without food, thinking about when I have those cues of, am I eating because I'm bored? Am I eating because I'm sad? Just trying to figure out what those triggers are has helped me over these past 2 years, because I've been documenting all of that. So pausing the injections helped me see that my lifestyle could stand on its own. And it is so far, and that, that's been incredibly empowering for me. So in maintenance also, my meals are no longer about staying as small as possible. I definitely do pay attention to having a balanced plate, so that protein, fiber, vegetables, all of that good stuff, dairy, like just making sure that I'm eating the food groups and being steady about that. So that, and really what that means is, like I said, that's protein at every meal. That's a balanced plate with carbs and fats, eating before I'm starving, treats that are intentional, not impulsive. Like I plan out, my treats are usually on the weekend or around my cycle time, but I know exactly what I'm going to eat, how many, and then that's it. That's really, and it's still been consistent with that, even me being off of the shot. So foods just feels calmer now. I still don't feel like any food noise or anything like that. I do know that I'm eating a little bit more, which is good for me, which was my goal, because I need to eat more calories in order to maintain my weight where I am right now. So it just feels less emotional, less urgent, and just, more supportive. So my dietitian also reinforced, that fuel and movement go hand in hand. So like I'm hooked on my yoga, my walking pad, stair stepper, my strength training, all of that that requires my energy and me being properly nourished. So my workouts feel better when I'm doing that, when I'm focusing on having that balanced plate. My recovery feels faster, and my mood is definitely steadier. So that's all a plus. So pausing the injections has been helping my body catch up to the work that I was already doing, right? And then being able to eat enough food to continue that. Monitoring my sleep and all of those things have helped me stay on track. So maintenance and how I measure success right now isn't just the scale anymore, right? I look at my energy, my strength, hydration, my digestive health, my mental clarity, emotional relationships with food. And then the scale really right now is just a data point right now. It's just making sure that what I've been doing throughout the week, I'm still maintaining my weight range, right? So just this has been like my faith anchor and devotional reflection that I want to share here. And that's in 1 Corinthians 10 and 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. So this verse reminds me that just because something works doesn't mean it's always what's best for every season. God calls us to wisdom, not extremes. Pausing my injections wasn't about fear. It was about discernment, about choosing what builds me up physically, mentally, and spiritually in this season. So maintenance to me is stewardship, and it's caring for what God has already entrusted to me, right? So I definitely, again, had to listen to my body. I had to pay attention to how I was feeling. And in the moment, it felt like, with everything that was going on, with how I was eating, and I know I needed to eat more in order to maintain. I didn't want to just keep losing weight because I'm at a weight where I'm comfortable. I'm at a weight where I'm healthy. So I definitely wanted to focus more on maintaining, and that required me to eat a little bit more calories. And I really couldn't do that with the shots. But now I want to hear from you, right? I've said a lot and I want to hear from you, right? Because that also helps keep me encouraged. But have you ever had to pause, adjust, or pivot something that once worked for you? So I want to hear from you. Or are you learning how to trust your habits in a new season? It's a new year, new season. Tell me what you all feel about that. Drop that in the comments. And your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear as well, right? So this is a maintenance mindset where wisdom replaces urgency and sustainability becomes the goal. So I hope this is something that encouraged you. I hope this is something that lifted you up, give you something to think about, reflect on. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for more because more is always coming. Have a good one.